Amber was a 24-year-old woman living in a small town in America. She had just graduated from college and found a well-paid job in the city. She had to get to work every day, which took about an hour. Also, as a new employee, she still had to master all the subtleties of the new job and, although she liked every moment, it still led to significant stress at the end of the day. Therefore, Amber often liked to walk in the woods near her house. She found the tranquility of nature and the fresh air refreshing after a long day at work. But despite her love of the forest, Amber always made sure not to stray from the paths she knew and stayed close to the entrance to the forest. She knew that dangerous animals such as wolves and bears lived in the forest, which could seriously harm her if she crossed their path. However, one day something happened that changed Amber's life forever. The young woman got a day off, and fortunately it was a beautiful sunny day outside. Amber decided to take a walk, as she had not been able to do so in the last few days due to her late return from work. Having prepared herself, she took one of her favorite routes, which led a little deeper into the forest, but offered more beauty. Amber was looking at the colorful flowers with pleasure when she suddenly heard a shrill howl. The woman froze in place. The howling sounded close, and she was afraid that soon the animal would jump out through the trees right towards her. After a short pause, she heard the howl again, only this time it sounded sad and painful. It was at this moment that Amber made a decision that changed her life. She was concerned that the animal making the sounds was clearly howling in pain. Not knowing what else to do, she began to move in the direction from which the sounds came. After a few minutes of walking, Amber discovered a painting that tore her heart apart. Among the trees, a lone wolf lay on the ground and moaned in pain. At first, Amber stayed where she was. She didn't want to get too close to the wild creature, as she didn't know what was wrong with it and was afraid of being attacked. However, after watching the wolf for a few minutes, Amber realized that it was somehow stuck. The young woman approached, hoping to see what was holding the wolf in place. When the beast heard that she was approaching, he raised his head and looked at her, starting to growl, made Amber freeze. But just a few seconds later, the wolf started crying again, and now that Amber was closer, she could see what had happened. The wolf got tangled in an old wire and couldn't move. Feeling sorry for the predator, the young woman took a deep breath and began to approach him, taking out a small pocket knife that she always took with her for walks. Amber started cutting the wire. All this time, the wolf was just watching her, making no sound or movement to attack. Finally, after several tense minutes, Amber cut off the last piece of wire, and the wolf was free. The young woman took a few steps back to let the beast get used to freedom. She watched as the predator, which turned out to be a female, stretched out and stretched its body. But the longer Amber watched, the more she realized that something was wrong with the wolf. She was limping. It looked like the wire had cut her paw a little. What surprised Amber the most was that the wolf, instead of running into the forest, turned and looked at her. After the predator seemed to appreciate her, she walked over to Amber and lay down next to her. The girl was amazed at what was happening. The wild beast thanked her for her help, showing friendliness. Taking advantage of the situation, Amber even stroked her. The young woman knew that with a damaged paw, the wolf would find it difficult to hunt, and that without help she risked going hungry. Realizing this, Amber decided to help the animal until it could take care of itself again. Over the next few weeks, Amber went to the forest every day to bring food to the wolf. She always met him at the place where they first met, and tried to give him a good portion of meat. A close bond soon developed between them, and soon Wolf and Amber were looking forward to their daily meetings. However, one day something strange happened. Amber did not come to her usual meeting place. The wolf was confused and a little worried, because the girl had never missed their meetings before. Not knowing what to do, she decided to wait until the next day. But the next day, Amber did not appear in a familiar place. Completely agitated, the wolf decided to go in search of her friend. She left the forest and followed Amber's scent. Soon she found herself in the cemetery, where people gathered around the coffin. The wolf quickly approached the coffin, next to which Amber's husband, Martin, stood with tears in his eyes. It turned out that Amber was dead. Her death was unexpected. Martin was devastated. He truly loved her, and this loss was overwhelming for him. Only when they were about to lower the coffin, the wolf ran up and began to growl. The frightened group of people stepped back, but upon closer inspection, Martin realized that this was an animal, the same wolf that his wife always talked about. He was amazed that she had come so far to find Amber. Martin watched as the wolf sniffed at the coffin. It seemed that she knew who was in the wooden box, and became more and more restless. The animal became so tense that it began to bite and scratch the coffin, trying to open it. At first, several of those present at the funeral tried to stop her, but after a few growls, they quickly stopped and retreated. Finally, after a particularly hard blow to the lid of the coffin, it opened, and after a few seconds Amber got out. Everyone froze in surprise. They couldn't believe what they saw. It was a miracle. Martin quickly ran up to Amber, and then called the police and an ambulance. When the girl was sitting on the ground, the wolf came up to her and immediately began licking her face and hands. Amber gladly responded to the display of friendship, realizing that she owed her life to this wonderful creature. After the arrival of the police and the doctor, it was possible to find out what really happened, as everyone was sure that she had died. The doctor determined that Amber suffered from a condition called catalepsy, when a person falls into a trance or a seizure with loss of feelings and consciousness, accompanied by stiffness of the body. This often makes a person look like a dead man. Fortunately for Amber, the wolf was able to discover that she was still alive and help her get out of the coffin in time. After this fright, Amber and Martin returned to their daily lives, rejoicing at the second chance. However, there is a new member in the family. The wolf often appeared at their house, cordially greeting Amber and enjoying the delicious food specially prepared for her. Dear viewers, if you liked this video, then like and subscribe to our channel. Goodbye.